Thank you for joining us for this presentation from Dubai Airport on how we have improved inventory management. My name's Henry. I'm from the Supply Management Department, and I'm going to be talking you through today a little bit about the challenges that we were facing. Clicker. Giving you a little bit of context about the environment within which we operate at Dubai Airports, the challenges we were facing in Dubai Airports in managing our inventory, and then as we identified that business case for change, what were going to be the metrics that we were going to be using to measure our performance so that we could validate our business case and demonstrate improvements in return on investment. I'm then going to be passing over to my colleague Rizwan, who will be talking to you a little bit about the solution itself that we selected, Syncron, and the environment within it operates, some insights about that, and then he'll skip back to me where I'll talk about all the amazing things that we achieved using it. So, I'm pretty sure everybody here has passed through Dubai Airports. You'll know that it's one of the largest and busiest airport hubs globally. We're supporting over 90 million passengers through the airport on an annual basis, and for a 24/7 operation with all of the assets that we have in place to support the facility, it's critically important that we have the assets that we need and the spare parts to support those assets so that we can avoid any disruption to our operation. Now, to do that from a fulfillment perspective, we operate across 6 different warehouses across DXB and DWC, and we work closely with our engineering department to ensure that we've got the right assets stored in our warehouses in the right quantity so that we can get the right products to the right people at the right time. So historically, like many organizations that have yet to adopt smart technology when it comes to inventory management, forecasting, planning, we were doing a lot of things on Excel, a number of people spending a lot of time number crunching, trying to figure out what parts we needed to order, when we needed to order them, and of course in what quantity, so that we didn't spend too much money, but equally that we had what we needed to avoid disruption. Of course, we were trying to avoid any sort of stock out situations for our critical items, but also trying to avoid having items sat on our shelf either not moving at all because the assets have changed, or slow moving because we've ordered too many. So we really needed to baseline where we were, and of course we were facing challenges. Without a material resource planning tool, we did have instances of stockouts, and we certainly had instances where we had high numbers of slow or obsolete items sat on our shelves, taking up warehouse space, resources to use them. And this is really, partly a product of Dubai Airport's success and the growth journey that we've been through, and then obviously also having to experience a shutdown during COVID. We needed to think about a new way of operating to support the next part of our growth story. And so we wanted to move away from the manual forecasting on Excel sheets, the very inefficient labor practices that we had, and reduce carrying costs, but also ensure that we minimized any disruption across the airport. So, having sort of identified the need to change, we started working collaboratively with our colleagues in business technology, in engineering, but also with our partners at Dubai Digital to understand what baseline we were operating at, and then what would the metrics be that would demonstrate the changes that we made were the right changes, that we'd been successful, and we were going to get a return on our investment. And so for us, that was really about improving our forecast accuracy so we could reduce the cost of the inventory that we were holding, but in particular anything that was slow moving or obsolete, we wanted to ensure that the products that were on our shelves were moving quicker, otherwise known as days inventory outstanding. And for our customers in the business, we wanted to prove on time, in full delivery, and reduce the number of open work orders that were open at any one time. So, Brisbane, do you want to talk about the selection, implementation of Syncron?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Andrew. So with this background which Henry gave you, we wanted to acquire and design the best-in-class supply chain solution to improve our parts planning. Law number 12 was enabled by Dubai government. It came as a blessing for us because it helped us secure funding for the project. This law mandates all the entities to have a formal materials planning application in the organization. So we did the business case, we did collaboration with Digital Dubai Authority, and we went to the market, we acquired a SaaS solution called Syncron. Right? Now, besides being compliant with the Dubai airport requirements, some of the key features of the product was that it was easy to use, had an intuitive interface, it was functionality rich and highly configurable. In this slide, I'm just going to talk about the key applications we have in the supply management landscape, focusing more on inventory. Right? So the first one is GRP, again given by DDA. We raise requisitions, we raise purchase orders, we receive items, we issue items from this application. Right? We also use the mobile supply chain apps, which enables us to inventory transactions using handheld devices. E-Supply on Jagger is our sourcing platform. All the RFI, RFP supply management is done on this platform. We use IBM Maximo for our enterprise asset management. Right? As Henry mentioned, we are an asset-intensive organization. So 90% of the inventory demand comes from Maximo. ServiceNow is our BT service management application. The IT asset management, the demand for all the IT assets, the laptops, the monitors, peripherals come from ServiceNow. Right? Now, one important thing is that all the systems are seamlessly integrated in real time. Right? That is absolutely important to manage our inventory. Now, one of the missing capability was that we didn't have a proper MRP application or MRO application, right, for our materials planning. So we didn't have capability to demand forecast, to optimize our inventory, to do order replacements and performance analytics, right? And that is where Syncron was acquired, and it closed the gap that we had in the application. So I will just quickly explain how Syncron is helping us manage our inventory, right? So the whole process is automated process, and there's three key areas. The first is the demand forecasting, right? Now it has statistical algorithms. It takes inputs, one of the key being the historical demand of parts. Right? It classifies the demand for each part, right? And it gives us the forecast for the next 1 year. Right? It also looks at the forecasting parameters that we have configured in the application. The second step is inventory optimization. This step will take the forecast output from the step 1. It will look at the supplier lead times. It will look at the configured service levels, because service levels that we want to achieve will directly have impact on the inventory levels. Right? It will also look at the inventory policy parameters that we have configured, and based out of this, it will tell us how much to order and when to order. Right? So this was the like $1 million question for us, which we were doing earlier, as Henry mentioned, on Excel sheets. Right? So the engine is now telling us exactly how much to order and when to order. This then becomes the input to the replenishment planning. Right? It will look at the on-hand stock. It will look at the purchase orders which are open. It will look at back orders. It will look at the replenishment parameters like ordering constraints, space constraints, and at the end it will give us the orders which we will actually raise as POs on the vendors. Now the beauty is the whole process can run in autopilot. Right? There is no manual intervention. But the way we have configured is that we have kept manual reviews at each step. The planners are just reviewing the data, reviewing the recommendations given by Syncron, and we just process the orders. So the whole process, which was on Excel sheets and manual, is now being automated. Of course, Syncron has elements of machine learning and artificial intelligence. So besides statistical forecasting, they are also using machine learning forecasting models to improve the forecast accuracy. Right? And these are some of the use cases. I'm not going to go into details of each use case because of interest of time. Right? But some of the use cases are listed here. The machine learning models help us detect seasonality, detect demand outliers, give an optimum peak demand size, and also predicting part failure. Syncron also has AI element to it, which helps in making decisions. Right? Again, some use cases are listed here. This slide, I'm just talking about how the integration works. Right? So Syncron is a processing engine. It requires inputs from different applications. Right? So the two key applications that I earlier spoke about, the GRP and Maximo, they are tightly integrated with Syncron. So it's a flat file based integration, right? And these are all the inputs that we give to Syncron inventory, the item master, the supplier data, the demand history of all the parts, the on-hand quantities, purchase orders, and the replacement items as well, substitute items. This is given to Syncron. Then Syncron runs the whole three-step process that I mentioned in the last slide. And it gives us the confirmed supply orders which we just place on our suppliers. It gives us a detailed demand forecast and optimal stock levels. Henry will just now talk about the benefits that we have achieved after implementing this.
Okay. So you'll see some pretty big numbers here, and I think it's important to note that this has been a journey that we've been on. We're a couple of years down the line. We didn't achieve these in week one or month one. But giving you a flavour of where we are today, just from an internal supply management perspective, a 93% reduction in data validation. That's our resources that, of course, are humans and occasionally make errors, that has been reduced, and 90% of that data entry has been eliminated. So these are all now resources that we're able to deploy to more strategic activities and to spend time understanding the insights that the Syncron tool is giving us. But perhaps most importantly is trying to find that sweet spot where we reduce the cost of what's sitting on our warehouse shelves by not stocking too much, but also making sure that we're never caught short and that we've got the items that we need to support the business. And the key metrics that I really want to show for that is a 23% increase of on time in full, which from where we were baselining puts us close to best in class, and an 85% reduction in open work orders. So these are the work orders that are generated by our engineering department, and if the parts aren't available, obviously the work order stays open. But we've managed to find that balance of reducing the cost of our inventory whilst also massively improving the service levels for the engineering department to keep our airport running. So I think we're probably about done. Happy to take any questions. Don't be shy. All clear, huh? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.